let's cover the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield X Carry Comp. Holy smokes, that's a mouthful. But what I'll tell you is that if you're new here, what I need you to do is please like, subscribe, share the video with your friends. If you want to become a member of the channel, you can do that. That does help us out, and we would certainly appreciate it. But outside of that, we're going to give you guys this information on the Shield X. This carry comp model does feel good in the hand. How it feels for me is it fits. I have large hands. It fits it pretty darn well. I get a little bit of overhang there in the 13 round mag that is flush fitting on this pistol. It does fit well, it seats perfectly, and it comes out fairly well. I do have to actually break my pinky finger in order to get that magazine out of the gun. Now with the 15 round mag that also ships with the gun, you'll notice it extends the grip ever so slightly, and that does feel good. You can feel that gap down there, which is something that, you know, I haven't seen anybody else really mention, but you can feel it, and it's not a perfect like flush fit. Can I say that this thing feels bad? No, I think it feels good overall, and the magazine release does feel pretty good. I have noticed I have to actually break my middle finger in order to actually release the magazines, because if I don't, it actually will catch and they will not drop free. Outside of that, the top up here is optics cut for RMSC. So you see we have a Vortex Defender CCW mounted on the top of the gun. It does come with night sights up here, so essentially the blacked out rear, which is perfect. Super happy about that. And then the front sight is a green neon with a tritium insert in the front. And of course you do have your chunk port up here on the front. The chunk port on here, size-wise, in comparison to other guns on the market, the Hellcat Pro Comp is about identical in overall size. Now I'll say though that these slide serrations on here, they do feel pretty good. They're not quite as good as what I'm accustomed to on the other carry comp pistols. I think they're far more aggressive on the compact carry comp. This one, they're a little bit on the smoother side, so I probably would have liked to see Smith & Wesson get a little bit more aggressive with these, but they are very usable. And when you pull back on the pistol, it does seem to bite pretty darn well. Then on the back, you have something very similar, and it is a little bit enlarged, I would say, on the back of the slide. So if you were slingshotting the gun from the back of it, it would be pretty simple as well. Now the slide stop slide release is a right-handed shooter, or only on the left side of the gun. Easy to hit. I haven't had any issues in regards to like how that feels. I think it's super simple to hit. Of course, when there's no mag in the gun, it is stiff. Takedown procedures on here are like the rest of the M&Ps. It's a nice process and very simple. It's nice too because you essentially don't really need to pull the trigger to do that. The trigger though, the trigger on this pistol outside of the Canik Prime, I'll tell you, is probably the best one for this size pistol. It feels really nice, and a couple of the measurements that I got before the video were falling in at roughly like 3 pounds 14 ounces to 4 pounds 4 ounces. So let's test that. Yeah, 3 pounds 12 ounces. 4 pounds 8 ounces. 4 pounds 6 ounces. So I would probably tell you, without getting super scientific about the trigger, it's falling somewhere between 4 to 4.5 pounds. It feels really nice. It has a good wall. With, I'm not really seeing, I mean, there's a little bit of creep in there. It's not quite as good as that Canik Prime, but it's better than the SIG, it's better than the Shadow Systems, and it's better than the Springfield. And it feels really nice. Now, if there's one thing that I'd probably knock this pistol on, that I noticed, it does have a good amount of bite on the front strap and the back strap of the pistol. I like that it has a beaver tail back here, which will help me from not getting slide bite, and it does sit low in the hand, which feels great as well. It does have your optics, or I'm sorry, your light rail up here on the front, so you can mount standard lights versus like the previous Shield pistols. You could never mount any of the good lights, essentially. But what I would say on here is I'm not really sure why Smith & Wesson didn't include texturing here in the middle of the grip, other than to keep it more comfortable when you're carrying the gun. I can tell you though that I've carried some of the most aggressive pistols on the market. I've carried some steel grips and stuff like that just to kind of see how they feel. And I just think it's a non-starter for me personally. For some folks, they're really going to appreciate that. For myself, I would prefer that they just include extra grip textures to help bite into the pistol when you're shooting it. But how this pistol fits in your hand and how I think it's going to end up performing is pretty darn good. So let's get out on the range, see how this Shield X performs. But if it's like the rest of the Smith & Wesson pistols, it's probably going to perform pretty darn well. And it'll be a name and a brand that you can trust. Let's go see how she does. First rounds out of our Shield X carry comp. A little bit anticlimactic. Okay. It'd be interesting to see how this thing performs in comparison to the other ones. The comp on here, like I could feel it functioning and working. I just can't say it's super effective in regards to like how that feels. But overall, the pistol in your hand is good and the trigger feels good. How the, I think maybe the original Shield X, like I said, I didn't have a chance to shoot that one, but we have the carry comp model and how it feels is pretty good. I gotta adjust my dot a touch after this string of fire, but the pistol feels good. You'll notice that the ejection's a little bit erratic. I've had a few come back and hit me on top of the head now, and some are spitting out to the right, which is where they should go, but. Okay. Initial thoughts, the grip feels good. Again, I wish that it had some more texturing through here versus not having. I understand why they did it. I just wish it had it. The trigger feels fantastic. Definitely, second best trigger I felt in a size category like this. The best one is the Canik Prime. But overall, it does feel pretty good. Nothing too negative to say about it other than I don't know that the comp or the port on here is super effective, but how the pistol feels and how it shoots in my hand feels pretty good. So I'm gonna make some adjustments to the sight, load up a few more mags, and we'll keep shooting. That's something I wanna make mention of is I do wish the grip was just a touch longer like you have on the Shadow Systems, the Prime, and the SIG, and even the Hellcat Pro Comp, because what happens is on here, when I go to load this, I can actually pinch the bottom of my heel, my palm in there, and if you've ever done that with a magazine, it hurts like a son of a gun. So just something to keep mention of and, of course, note. The slide release or slide stop is a little bit stiff, which that was something that we mentioned on the carry compact that I have. They do loosen up with time, and I'm sure that this will be the same case. The other shields have been like that. Okay, performance-wise, the Shield X does shoot well. How it feels in my hand is good, and overall, how it does perform is good. It's been reliable so far through about 60 rounds, which is good. Some guns that are comped are not. This is 124 grain Winchester Valor ammo, so pretty cheap stuff overall. What I've noticed, like a lot of the Smith & Wessons, they do put that little port in the top of the chamber, so that you can see in there in case you need to, in the event you don't know how to press check your gun or understand the condition of your firearm. But they do have it, and it does blow gas up into the optic front window, which is pretty normal on the Smith & Wessons in general. I wish they'd just get rid of it, but they have not. How this thing feels in your hand, it doesn't slide under recoil, right? So although I don't like the fact that it doesn't have a bunch of grip texture up here and things like that, the pistol does not move in my hand under recoil, and it does feel very grippy, which is a good thing. The trigger reset and how the trigger performs is good. Accuracy seems like it needs to be where I'm at. I'm able to shoot from a high ready, a sub 1 second head swinger at roughly 20 yards. So the pistol itself performs exactly as you would want it to be. Can I say that this port on here is as effective or, drives the muzzle as much as some of the other ones do in the market? It most definitely does not. If I was to give you a comparison right out of the gate, and you'll see that in our full comparison video coming here shortly, the pistol shoots a lot like a Canik Prime. So if you're familiar with how the Prime shoots, the Shield X shoots almost identically, except it's a little bit smaller and more compact. The grip size itself, holding this pistol is fairly small, which is good. It's going to conceal really well, and I really like the beaver tail. The grip itself has like little to no material on it, and you can actually feel it flexing when you grip the pistol and you squeeze it. And then, of course, it does have the light rail on the front. So really, guys, the Shield X from Smith & Wesson is a great feeling little pistol, and the carry comp is a nice addition. I think that this is a huge upgrade from the original Shield pistols because of the size that it is. And with your 15-round mag, it does fit almost a full-size grip, right? And it feels good inside your hand. So I definitely think you should check one out, and especially check out our comparison video coming shortly.